In a dimly lit chamber, an old parchment rests beneath the trembling glow of candlelight. The air is heavy with dust and mystery, and as the ancient scroll unfurls, coastlines emerge, familiar yet impossible. A scholar leans closer, his fingers tracing shapes that defy history itself. Before him lies a map drawn in the early 16th century, showing lands no one at the time should have known existed. This is the kind of artifact that shakes the foundation of everything we believe about human history. For centuries, maps have been the storyteller's canvas of our world. But among thousands of ordinary charts lies a handful that whisper of something far older, far stranger. These are not mere navigational guides, they are windows into a forgotten age. Some show Antarctica centuries before its discovery, others display continents and coastlines that vanished beneath the seas long before recorded history began. To look at them is to question reality itself. How could ancient civilizations have possessed knowledge of lands only visible today through satellite imagery? Historians and scientists have long debated these anomalies. The official narrative insists these were coincidences, creative guesses, or copied fragments of older maps. But if that's true, who created those older maps? And how could such precision exist in a time when the Earth's poles, ocean currents, and continental shapes were supposedly unknown? These ancient maps aren't just curiosities locked away in museums, they're silent witnesses, hinting at something extraordinary that modern science struggles to explain. They suggest a world where lost civilizations may have once charted the planet long before our history books begin. Tonight, we'll unfold their secrets one by one, following the clues left behind by long-forgotten hands. Because if these maps are real, and they are, then the story of human civilization might be far older, and far more mysterious, than we've ever dared to imagine. Centuries before satellites, radar, and global positioning systems, humanity still dared to map the unknown. Imagine standing on the deck of a wooden ship in 1500, the world stretching endlessly in all directions. Navigation depended on the stars, the wind, and the bravery of men who believed the earth hid secrets just beyond the horizon. And yet, somehow, within this age of guesswork and myth, certain mapmakers drew coastlines with impossible precision. Lines that matched modern satellite data almost perfectly. How could that be? How could someone, armed only with parchment and ink, have charted regions no European had ever seen? To understand the scale of this mystery, we must first grasp what mapping meant in the ancient world. Cartographers relied on explorers' tales, scattered measurements, and second-hand drawings from travelers and traders. Most maps were filled with errors, continents misshapen, oceans misplaced, distances wildly off. Yet hidden among these crude sketches, a few stood apart, showing detailed and geographically accurate depictions of the Earth. Maps that revealed longitudes before the invention of the marine chronometer. Maps that displayed landmasses buried beneath ice or lost to the sea. These weren't random coincidences, they were masterpieces drawn from knowledge that should not have existed. Historians have struggled to explain this anomaly. The most common theory suggests that mapmakers like Piri Reis or Oronteus Finaeus simply copied from older sources, records that have since disappeared. But this explanation only deepens the mystery. Who created those original maps? And how did they know the true shapes of continents thousands of years before modern science confirmed them? Some researchers propose that remnants of an advanced pre-Ice Age civilization passed down fragments of global knowledge through ancient cultures, Egyptians, Greeks, Sumerians, and beyond. Others dismiss the idea entirely, claiming it's nothing more than coincidence or artistic imagination. Yet, when one overlays these maps with modern topography, the alignments are too exact to ignore. It's as though the cartographers were drawing from a memory far older than history itself. Each discovery raises unsettling questions. Were our ancestors far more advanced than we imagine? Did they inherit a legacy of knowledge from civilizations wiped out by cataclysm? Or could humanity's understanding of its own past be missing an entire chapter, one that explains how ancient minds once saw the Earth as it truly was? The deeper one studies these maps, the harder it becomes to dismiss them as mistakes. Instead, They begin to look like echoes, faint but persistent, of a forgotten age when the world was mapped by those who had seen it all. And that realization, more than anything, begins to rewrite what we think we know about the dawn of human civilization. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis unfurled a map that would haunt historians for centuries. Drawn on gazelle skin, its ink faded but deliberate, the map depicted the coasts of South America and Antarctica, centuries before those regions were officially explored. When scholars rediscovered it in the archives of Istanbul in 1929, they were stunned. How could a sailor from the 16th century have charted coastlines that European explorers had yet to see? And more baffling still, how could he have known the shape of Antarctica beneath its ice, a detail not confirmed until modern seismic studies in the 20th century? Piri Reis himself offered a clue. In a note written on the map's edge, he explained that his work was not entirely his own. He had compiled it from older maps, some of which, he claimed, dated back to the time of Alexander the Great. This admission ignited one of the greatest mysteries in cartographic history. If his sources truly predated the known age of exploration, then those maps must have been drawn by civilizations with knowledge far beyond what history admits. Mainstream historians argue that Piri Reis combined data from recently returned explorers like Columbus and Portuguese sailors who mapped parts of South America. But that explanation falls apart when one examines the details. The South American coastline on the Piri Reis map is uncannily accurate, even capturing the correct longitudinal proportions, a feat considered impossible in that era without precise timekeeping tools. And then there's the Antarctic coastline, depicted without ice, with rivers and mountain ranges almost identical to those revealed by satellite imaging 5 centuries later. Some scientists have tried to rationalize this by suggesting the landmass shown was not Antarctica, but rather a misinterpretation of South America extended too far south. Yet, the alignment is too perfect, the orientation too deliberate. The map's accuracy beneath the Antarctic ice sheet suggests knowledge of the continent's preglacial state, meaning whoever first charted it must have lived when Antarctica was ice-free, possibly over 12,000 years ago. That date aligns disturbingly with the end of the last ice age and the supposed fall of Plato's Atlantis. Could the Piri Reis map be a surviving fragment of a global civilization wiped out by cataclysm? Many fringe researchers think so. They argue that advanced seafaring societies once existed, mapping the planet with technologies long since lost. Others suggest the map was preserved through secret knowledge, passed down through Egyptian priests, Greek scholars, and Islamic astronomers until it reached Piri Reis's hands. Whatever its origin, the map stands as an undeniable anomaly. Every attempt to dismiss it only deepens the mystery. How could this admiral, living in an age before modern navigation, have access to information only rediscovered in the 20th century? Perhaps the answer lies not in what Piri Reis knew, but in what he inherited. His map may be more than a drawing, it may be a message from a forgotten world, a whisper from deep time reminding us that history is not written once, but rewritten again and again as the sands of truth shift beneath our feet. In 1531, a French cartographer named Oronteus Finaeus produced a map that, for centuries, would remain as mysterious as it was prophetic. This map, drawn during the Renaissance, is eerily similar to the Piri Reis map, but with one chilling detail: it also depicted Antarctica. What makes Finaeus' map even more extraordinary is not just the inclusion of Antarctica, but its portrayal of the continent without ice, showing rivers, mountains, and coastlines in striking accuracy, long before scientists confirmed the region's preglacial geography through satellite imagery in the 20th century. When historians first examined this map, they dismissed it as a simple error or a misinterpretation of other landmasses. After all, how could a Renaissance-era map show such precise details of Antarctica, a place no one had ever visited, let alone mapped? For centuries, the map lay in dusty archives, largely ignored by mainstream scholarship. But in the 20th century, as modern exploration began to reveal the true shape of Antarctica, scientists were forced to confront an uncomfortable question: how could this 16th century map have predicted what would only be discovered centuries later? One possible explanation is that Phineus had access to the same ancient maps and sources as Piri Reis. Could these mysterious, ice-free maps have been passed down from a forgotten civilization that charted the Earth long before our recorded history? In fact, a closer examination reveals that the coastline of Antarctica on Phineus' map aligns remarkably with the actual coastline that modern scientists have mapped beneath the ice sheets using sonar and radar technologies. The outlines on the map are so accurate that they cannot be dismissed as mere coincidence or imagination. The mainstream academic community struggles to provide a coherent explanation for such anomalies. Some suggest that Phineus might have relied on accounts from sailors who explored the Southern Ocean, but this is highly speculative. No known European explorers ventured near Antarctica in the early 1500s. Others propose that Phineus was simply recreating older, lost maps passed down through secret societies or ancient sources that documented the Earth's geography in ways we can't fully comprehend. Still, there's another possibility that haunts the scientific community. Could the Oronteus Finaeus map represent a direct link to the lost civilizations of the distant past? A civilization that not only mapped Antarctica but also knew its true shape, perhaps even before the last ice age. This theory resonates deeply with those who believe that the world was once home to advanced cultures whose knowledge was passed down through hidden channels, obscured by time and catastrophe. As we continue to uncover more about these ancient maps, the question becomes harder to ignore: what if the true history of Earth has been hidden from us, not by conspiracy, but by the erasure of entire civilizations? The Oronteus Finaeus map, with its ice-free Antarctica, stands as a testament to a forgotten age, offering us a glimpse of the Earth as it once was, and the possibility that the past is far more mysterious than we could have ever imagined. Across the globe, in nearly every ancient culture, there are stories of lost lands and vanished continents, places once teeming with civilization, now submerged beneath the oceans, erased by time, or swallowed by cataclysmic events. From Plato's Atlantis to the Hindu legends of Lemuria and the lost continent of Mu in the Pacific, these myths share striking similarities: vast, advanced civilizations, flourishing in an era long before recorded history, only to be destroyed by cataclysmic events that wiped them from the earth. But what if these legends are not mere fantasies? What if they are memories of a real, ancient world, a world that mapped the planet in ways we are just beginning to understand? The idea of lost continents isn't just the stuff of myth. Geologists and archaeologists have uncovered remnants of submerged cities and structures that suggest human civilization may have flourished far earlier than mainstream history admits. Sunken cities off the coast of India, mysterious stone ruins under the Caribbean, and strange megalithic structures beneath the sea off Japan's Yonaguni coast, these are not mere anomalies, they are signs of a forgotten age. A time when entire civilizations may have thrived across the globe, from the Americas to the Pacific, leaving behind only the faintest traces of their existence. One of the most fascinating aspects of these lost lands is their connection to the maps we've already examined. The Piri Reis Map and the Oronteus Finaeus Map, both of which depict Antarctica in an ice-free state, point to a larger narrative of forgotten continents and civilizations. If these maps show lands that no known civilization should have been able to access, could they be depicting locations that were once part of a global civilization, lands that have since vanished beneath the ocean or been destroyed by natural disasters? In the Pacific, the legend of Mu tells of an advanced civilization that flourished thousands of years ago. According to the story, the people of Mu were masters of science, art, and engineering, with cities that spanned the entire ocean. But one fateful day, the entire continent was swallowed by the sea, disappearing without a trace. While mainstream scholars dismiss the idea of Mu as mere myth, some researchers argue that the ancient stories might be rooted in truth. Geologists have found underwater structures in the Pacific that are strangely reminiscent of ancient cities, and some even suggest that the island of Easter Island, home to the mysterious Moai statues, was once part of this lost land. Similarly, the myth of Lemuria, a continent said to have existed between Africa, Asia, and Australia, has captivated explorers and theorists for centuries. The idea of Lemuria first gained popularity in the 19th century, when scientists noticed similarities in the flora and fauna of Madagascar and India. Could this have been a remnant of a once mighty landmass? While the theory of Lemuria is often dismissed as pseudoscience, the idea of lost continents, continents that are not just submerged but entirely erased from history, remains tantalizing. The question then becomes, if these ancient maps were not based on contemporary knowledge, but rather on the remnants of a forgotten civilization, what else might they have known? Could the Piri Reis Map, with its uncanny accuracy of the South American coastline, be showing the true geography of a pre-cataclysmic Earth? Was there once a time when maps like these were commonplace, and the continents were connected in ways we can only now dream of? The more we delve into the myths of lost lands, the more we see a pattern emerge, a pattern that suggests a world far older, far stranger, and far more interconnected than we could have imagined. These forgotten continents are not just the stuff of legends, they are echoes of a lost history, a history that may one day be revealed by the ancient maps that charted it. And as we continue to uncover more about these lost lands and the civilizations that once inhabited them, one thing becomes clear: the true story of our planet is far more mysterious, and far more compelling, than we've been led to believe. What if the story of human civilization didn't begin in the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, but in a time long before recorded history? What if, buried beneath the ruins of ancient cities, beneath the sand and the sea, lies evidence of a far more ancient world, one that flourished before the great flood myths of cultures worldwide? The idea that advanced civilizations existed before our recorded history challenges everything we know about the human past. But the more we explore the ruins, the deeper we dig into ancient maps, the clearer it becomes: the Earth was once home to a global civilization that disappeared long before we ever thought possible. The concept of a pre-flood world is not new. Every major civilization, from the ancient Sumerians to the ancient Egyptians, to the Native American tribes, has their own version of a great deluge, a cataclysmic event that wiped out all but a few survivors. Plato's Atlantis, the biblical flood of Noah, the Hindu story of Manu, these are not isolated myths but shared archetypes, echoes of a real event that affected the entire planet. But what if the flood was not just a metaphor? What if it was an actual, global catastrophe that wiped out an entire civilization, a civilization so advanced that its knowledge, its maps, and its achievements have been forgotten by time? In recent years, geologists and archaeologists have uncovered evidence that suggests such a world did exist. Ancient structures, buried beneath the sea off the coast of Japan, India, and the Caribbean, hint at the existence of advanced cultures that predated known history. Off the coast of India, underwater ruins have been found, with walls, roads, and even the remains of large buildings, all dating back to a time long before the rise of civilization. Similar discoveries have been made in the Caribbean, where underwater pyramids and structures have been uncovered, suggesting a lost civilization that once spanned the globe. These underwater ruins are not just isolated anomalies, they are part of a growing body of evidence that points to the existence of a pre-flood world. Ancient maps, like the Piri Reis Map and the Oronteus Finaeus Map, suggest a world where Antarctica was ice-free, where the continents were not yet separated by oceans, and where global trade and exploration were possible long before history tells us such things were even conceivable. Could these ancient civilizations have known about Antarctica and other now submerged lands? Could they have created maps that depicted the Earth as it was before the flood? And if so, where did this knowledge come from? One theory suggests that survivors of the Great Flood, perhaps from the survivors of Atlantis or Lemuria, passed down their knowledge through secret societies, keeping the memory of the ancient world alive in the form of maps, myths, and sacred texts. These maps, like the Piri Reis Map, are not just curiosities, they are pieces of a puzzle, fragments of a forgotten history. They suggest a world where civilizations were connected by more than just trade routes, they were part of a global network, a world-spanning civilization that mapped the Earth in ways we are only beginning to understand. The more we uncover about these ancient maps and lost civilizations, the more we are confronted with a difficult truth: much of this knowledge has been deliberately suppressed. The existence of pre-flood civilizations, the evidence of advanced technologies long before we thought humanity was capable, and the mystery of ancient maps, all of this challenges the conventional understanding of history. Yet, time and again, scholars have dismissed these anomalies, brushed them aside, or even outright rejected them. Why? Is it simply a matter of skepticism, or is there something deeper at play? Throughout history, there have been numerous instances where groundbreaking discoveries were met with resistance. Theories that threaten to overturn the established narrative have often been ridiculed, ignored, or actively suppressed. Take, for example, the story of Heinrich Schliemann, the archaeologist who discovered the ruins of Troy. For years, the existence of Troy was considered a myth, until Schliemann's discovery confirmed the ancient city's reality. Yet even then, mainstream academia was slow to accept the evidence, clinging to outdated assumptions about history. This pattern of dismissal, especially when it comes to discoveries that challenge traditional views, is not unique. It's a recurring theme in the story of human knowledge. So, what happens when we apply this to the study of ancient maps and forgotten civilizations? As researchers and explorers dive into these mysteries, they often find themselves confronted with a wall of academic resistance. Maps like the Piri Reis Map and the Oronteus Finaeus Map, which suggest knowledge of lost continents and advanced civilizations, are often relegated to the realm of fringe theories, dismissed as the product of wild imagination or coincidence. Yet, the more these maps are analyzed, the more they reveal a truth that cannot be easily ignored. This suppression of knowledge doesn't just exist in the realm of maps, it's a broader issue. The mainstream narrative of history, especially the story of human civilization, is built on a set of assumptions that may not be entirely accurate. The timeline of human evolution, the rise of agriculture, the origins of writing, each of these key milestones is presented as an undeniable fact. Yet, the discovery of ancient cities, submerged ruins, and anomalous artifacts suggests that the real story may be far more complex. Why, then, does mainstream academia resist these ideas? Some scholars argue that overturning the established narrative would have too many implications. If humanity once possessed advanced knowledge thousands of years ago, then everything we know about human history, from the origins of civilization to the development of technology, would need to be rewritten. This could undermine centuries of academic research, destabilize the current understanding of archaeology, and even challenge modern theories of human development. Another factor is the difficulty of reconciling these discoveries with the scientific method. The evidence for lost civilizations and suppressed knowledge often lies outside the boundaries of conventional archaeology. In the world of cutting-edge science, the belief is often that the farther we travel into the past, the more fragmented our understanding becomes. But what if the opposite is true? What if the ancient world, so often dismissed as primitive and naive, was far more advanced in certain ways than we could have ever imagined? What if ancient civilizations possessed knowledge, about the Earth, the stars, and even the very structure of the planet, that we are only now rediscovering with modern technology? The clash between modern science and ancient wisdom is not just a philosophical debate, it is a real struggle to reconcile two seemingly incompatible worldviews. On one hand, we have the scientific method, a rigorous, systematic approach to understanding the universe through observation, experimentation, and evidence. On the other hand, we have ancient traditions, myths, and artifacts that point to a deeper, more esoteric understanding of the world, one that often defies the limitations of conventional science. Take, for example, the debate over the age of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Mainstream archaeology places the pyramid's construction around 4,500 years ago, based on the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. However, alternative researchers argue that the true age of the pyramid may stretch back tens of thousands of years, perhaps even before the rise of ancient Egypt. They point to the precise alignment of the pyramid with the cardinal directions, the advanced knowledge of geometry and astronomy embedded in its construction, and the alignment of the stars, details that seem to suggest an earlier, far more sophisticated civilization than Egypt's known history would allow. Similarly, the ancient maps we have examined, particularly the Piri Reis Map and the Oronteus Finaeus Map, offer clues that modern science is only now beginning to understand. The maps show accurate depictions of the world as it was long before modern explorers could have known. The Piri Reis Map, for instance, contains a depiction of Antarctica without ice, an idea that was only confirmed by satellite imaging in the 20th century. The Oronteus Finaeus map also depicts Antarctica's coastline with astonishing accuracy, revealing a pre-glacial world that modern science is just starting to unravel. In the past, these maps were dismissed as the work of imaginative mapmakers who had simply copied older works or made educated guesses. Yet, with the advent of modern technology, such as sonar mapping, satellite imagery, and computer modeling, scientists are beginning to realize that the ancient cartographers may have had access to knowledge far beyond their time. Could it be that ancient cultures, with their deep understanding of the Earth and its cycles, were able to map the world with a precision that we are just beginning to comprehend? But the tension between science and ancient memory goes beyond just maps and monuments. It challenges the very way we view the relationship between past and present. Modern science often emphasizes progress, the idea that humanity is on a continuous upward trajectory, gaining more knowledge and sophistication with each passing generation. Yet, these ancient maps, structures, and artifacts suggest a more cyclical view of human history, one where knowledge was not always linear, and where civilizations could rise and fall, leaving behind only fragments of their wisdom. Perhaps the most profound example of this is the story of Antarctica. For years, scientists believed that the continent had been covered in ice for millions of years, with no trace of human habitation. But when ancient maps began to emerge showing the coastlines of Antarctica without ice, the conventional view was shattered. Could it be that ancient civilizations knew about Antarctica's true geography long before it became a frozen wasteland? And if so, how did they know? In modern science, the prevailing theory is that Antarctica's ice sheets began to form around 34 million years ago, after a dramatic shift in the Earth's climate. But recent geological evidence suggests that the ice-free period may have lasted far longer than previously thought, potentially allowing ancient civilizations to thrive on the continent. Throughout history, many of the most significant discoveries have been made by accident, by curious individuals who dared to look beyond what was widely accepted, by explorers who refused to believe the world had no more mysteries left to unveil. These discoveries, whether they be in the realms of archaeology, astronomy, or cartography, often begin with an overlooked detail, a crack in the conventional narrative that reveals a deeper, often more elusive truth. The ancient maps we've uncovered, the forgotten civilizations we've studied, and the suppressed knowledge we've explored, these are not isolated anomalies, they are part of a larger, ongoing process of rediscovery. And this rediscovery is happening right now, before our very eyes. The most remarkable aspect of this process is that many of these secrets have been hidden in plain sight for centuries. Take the ancient maps, for instance. The Piri Reis Map, which shows an ice-free Antarctica, has been in the public domain for almost 500 years. Yet, only in recent decades, with the advent of modern technology and scientific exploration, have we begun to understand the true implications of this map. Similarly, the Oronteus Finaeus map, which accurately portrays Antarctica's coastline, was almost completely ignored for centuries until recent advancements in radar imaging and satellite technology revealed the truth. The coastline depicted on the map matches exactly with the topography of the continent beneath its thick ice sheet. These maps, along with countless other artifacts and records from ancient civilizations, were there all along, waiting to be properly understood. They were preserved in libraries, archives, and museums, their significance obscured by centuries of conventional thinking. But as our scientific tools and perspectives have evolved, we are beginning to see these old discoveries in a new light. Through advanced technologies such as 3D mapping, satellite imagery, and underwater exploration, we can now revisit the remnants of ancient civilizations and compare them with modern data to uncover truths that were previously hidden. One of the most groundbreaking examples of this rediscovery is the use of LiDAR, light detection and ranging, technology in the jungles of Central America. As we continue to uncover the remnants of forgotten civilizations and lost knowledge, one question remains at the forefront of our exploration: what will the future of these discoveries hold? We live in a time of unprecedented technological advancement, and each day seems to bring new revelations about our planet's past. From the rediscovery of ancient maps that challenge conventional history, to the unveiling of hidden cities beneath dense jungles, we are standing on the precipice of an entirely new understanding of human history. But as we dig deeper into the Earth, the question arises, what more lies buried beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered? The future of ancient discoveries is, in many ways, boundless. New technologies like LiDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and DNA analysis are allowing us to peer deeper into the past than ever before. These tools give us the ability to examine ancient ruins, submerged cities, and even human remains in ways that were once unimaginable. With each new breakthrough, we begin to piece together the puzzle of human history, one that may reveal far more than we ever expected. Take, for example, the way LiDAR has revolutionized our understanding of ancient civilizations. Just a few years ago, the idea that entire cities could be hidden beneath dense jungle canopies seemed implausible. Yet, in 2018, LiDAR technology was used to reveal more than 60,000 Maya structures in Guatemala, entire cities, roadways, and agricultural systems that had been lost to the world for centuries. This discovery not only reshaped our understanding of the Maya civilization but also opened up the possibility that other civilizations, hidden beneath the earth or the sea, may still be waiting to be found. What if similar technologies could be used to uncover lost cities beneath the oceans? Ancient shipwrecks, sunken islands, and submerged temples all hold the potential to reveal a forgotten history of humanity's global reach. Technologies like sonar mapping and submersible drones are already uncovering shipwrecks and ancient ruins beneath the waves. In the future, these technologies could allow us to explore entire lost civilizations that once thrived on now submerged continents, such as the legendary Atlantis or the sunken lands of Mu and Lemuria. What could we learn if we could finally access these ancient, underwater ruins? Could they hold the answers to the questions we've been asking for centuries about our origins and our true history? At the same time, genetic research is offering us new insights into the past. DNA analysis has already revealed surprising facts about human migration and the spread of ancient cultures across the planet. The study of ancient human remains can tell us about ancient lifestyles, diets, and even diseases. And with the ongoing development of ancient DNA sequencing, we may one day be able to decode the genetic traces left by long-lost civilizations, further linking us to the mysteries of the past. In addition to technological advancements, there is a growing interest in revisiting ancient texts and oral traditions. As we explore ancient myths, legends, and sacred writings, we may uncover new truths about lost civilizations and their knowledge. Could the stories of gods and heroes, often dismissed as allegories, contain hidden knowledge about the natural world, about the stars, or about technologies that were once used by ancient cultures? These oral traditions, passed down through generations, may hold the keys to unraveling the mysteries of the past. And with modern research methods, we are now able to decipher these ancient stories in ways that were previously impossible. Looking ahead, the future of ancient discoveries is not just about digging through the earth or scanning the oceans, it's about the potential for a paradigm shift in how we understand history itself. As we gather more evidence and piece together the fragments of ancient knowledge, we may come to realize that our ancestors were far more advanced and connected than we ever imagined. The idea of separate, isolated civilizations, each developing in isolation from one another, may be an outdated concept.